Hi everybody, welcome to the latest episode of the SCU Show. I'm your host, SCU, episode number 56. Had a little technical difficulties this morning working this mic here, but we got worked out. We're having a show, and I can't wait to talk about what we're ready to talk about. So let's jump right into it. And we're actually going to start this week's show by talking about fan control football, because that's the biggest thing right now in sports. Obviously, a lot of sports being canceled, NCAA basketball games being canceled and everything, and a lot of uncertainty about different things, but here we are. We have fan control football, and how exciting was it, am I right? Fan control football had a very successful first week. I don't think anybody can really question it. Of course, people are going to question it, but I don't think people should be questioning it because it was so successful. The games were exciting. The plays were great. You had a lot of exciting stuff going on. The broadcasts were great. Everything was just so perfect. Everything worked out so well, and then there's people complaining about so many different things. I don't see any problems with it. I don't see any problems with it. I don't understand why people are complaining. Oh, this is unprofessional because they were cursing. Okay, that's the one thing out of everything that the FCF did to the first week that I didn't really agree with. But other than that, everything went so well. Did you watch those games? Those are great games. The first score was 30-22. It was a close game at the end. The second game, did you see the ending? It was that close. The Zappers were that close to winning that football game. Especially on that last play where the quarterback was running around, almost got sacked like 6 times, ran out, threw a pass to a wide open guy on a screen pass, and he ran, and he got knocked out of bounds at the 5-yard line. You're telling me you're not excited by that? You're not telling me you love seeing this right now? Everybody should love seeing this right now. That's fan control football. I don't want to say it's here to stay, but good Lord, the first week was so successful. They had 30,000 hits on Twitch alone. 30,000 people watched the main broadcast. And of course, that doesn't even count the command center broadcast, the drone camera, the ref camera, the helmet camera. I don't understand the hate for the FCF, fan control football. It had a very successful first week. Everybody loved it. A lot of people loved it, and a lot of people didn't really like it. I don't understand why. But it was so successful and so much fun. I can't wait to see more of it. And we have like 6 weeks of this. Not only that, but I've talked to Patrick Dees before, and I talked to him recently, the co-founder of the FCF. He said that they are planning on multiple seasons per year. Now, there was a rumor that they were going to play again in July, but that has been denied. They are not going to be ready for July, but we're getting more of this. And if this product is like it was the first week, I mean, come on, you cannot be excited for this. This is exciting stuff. This is great. Football is still here, people. Everybody talks about the NFL's over, no more football. We have it right in front of us. We had it right in front of us last 3 years. The Alliance, the XFL, now we have fan control football. And I think it's different than the XFL and the Alliance because it's a 50-yard field. They're playing in an arena. It's very exciting. The games were great. And really, if you hate on it, you must not like football because that was a hell of a showcase we saw Saturday night. And I can't wait for the rest of the season. It's going to be so much fun to watch. Oh, by the way, sorry, a few more takeaways. I did forget about this stuff. My biggest question for the fan control football is, everybody's big question is, what are they going to clean up? Are they going to clean this up, clean that up? My biggest question is, are we going to see the same defense we saw with the Beasts? Now, I'm not saying, we're going to see the same players. Obviously, we're not. But the Beasts defense was the kind of like the highlight of the weekend because they were so dominant in that win over the Zappers, even though they only won by 4. It was a blowout until the final minute of that game. It was a blowout city. The Beasts had control all game long, basically. It was dominant all throughout. So I'm excited to see what the Beasts do this coming week as they draft all new players. I think it's tomorrow on Wednesday. It's going to be very exciting to watch to see if that Beast defense can keep it up what they did against the Zappers last week. And another thing I forgot to add was shout out to David Pindell. I've been watching David Pindell forever. For the longest time, I've been watching his film from UConn. This is one of the most talented quarterbacks I've ever seen. And we're talking about, outside the NFL, of course. One of the most talented quarterbacks I've ever seen. Everything about him is just so great. And he proved that with the Wild Aces, with the Glacier Boys, he's with the Glacier Boys. He proved that on Saturday. He scored the first touchdown in fan control football history. and he had a really great performance, and I'm really happy to see him playing in the FCF and making history as the first one to score in league history. Congratulations, David. So proud of you. Love seeing you work. Alright, now here's some ridiculous thing right here that I just didn't understand this at all. There's a talk going around that Russell Wilson could be traded. Russell Wilson has expressed his frustration with the team about not having offensive linemen to help him. You know, obviously everybody sees this. How Russell Wilson has not had any great offensive linemen since he's drafted in 2012. He's had no offensive line help at all. And now apparently the Seahawks front office is upset that he has gone out and he's talked about it, and they're like, why would you say this stuff publicly? Now, okay, maybe from a higher up standpoint, you do understand when things like that get out into the public eye, you're kind of like, why would you say that? But at the same time, why are we talking about Russell Wilson being traded? Why is this a topic? This should not be a topic. Russell Wilson has been the greatest NFL quarterback since 2012. And we're talking about Aaron Rodgers, talking about Brady, talking about Patrick Mahomes. Russell Wilson is the guy. He's been the most successful quarterback over the last 8 or 9 years in the NFL. He's won it, I believe, and I might be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure, except 1 year when the Niners went to the Super Bowl, he had won the NFC West every single year he's been there. I mean, come on. He's won the NFC West almost every year. He's been to the playoffs every year, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe he missed once, but he's pretty much been to the playoffs every season. He has all the Seahawks records. He's won a Super Bowl. He's been to two Super Bowls. He's won 2 NFC Championship games. What else do you need from Russell Wilson if you're at the Seahawks front office? Why are we talking about him being traded? None of that makes sense to me. None of it at all. That's absolutely ridiculous that we're sitting here talking about where could Russell Wilson land up. Russell Wilson's going to spend the rest of his career in Seattle, and there should be no question about that. I don't understand the talk of, he be traded. You know, the front office is upset with him, so they might trade him. It's crap. And if the Seahawks front office does look to trade him, then obviously they have a problem going on up there. You're getting rid of your franchise guy who's going to be there next another 10 years, probably win a couple more Super Bowls, and we're talking about trading him. It just doesn't make sense. It blows my mind that we're talking about that right now. I don't understand it. Don't be stupid, Seattle. Keep Russell Wilson. Get him off. What he needs is offensive lineman. That's all he's asking for. I understand he probably shouldn't have gone public with it, but if you're frustrated, sometimes you need to go public with stuff. I know I do sometimes. Just get Russell Wilson some offensive linemen. Go draft somebody. Maybe you can draft up, get a top 3 pick, get that Penny Sewell guy from Oregon. That would be a great pick. You have the receivers, you have the defense, you have the quarterback, you have the coach. The only thing you're missing is the offensive lineman. Go get yourself one, or a couple, for Russell Wilson, so he can win you a few more Super Bowls. Another quarterback that I'm hearing about, is more likely to be on his way out of the city he's in right now, is Alex Smith. Everybody, and this is more broad talk. More people are talking about this. Who is the next Washington football team quarterback? Why isn't it Alex Smith? Alex Smith just won you an NFC West title. Took your team to the playoffs after he almost died just 2 years ago. This man is a comeback legend. He deserves to be with the Washington football team. He deserves to be their starting quarterback. Because you look at the NFC East right now, the Eagles don't know who their quarterback is. They don't know who their head coach is. I don't know who it is. Some rando. The Giants, do you really trust Daniel Jones? If you do, at least for 2021, the Giants are going to be crap again. And in Dallas, everything's a problem. The defense was the worst. Why they got rid of Rob Marinelli, I'll never know. Everything in the NFC East is absolute dumpster fire. And then there's Washington, who overcame all the adversity and won the NFC East. They hosted a playoff game with Alex Smith. So why are they talking about getting rid of him too? I just don't understand. If I'm the Washington football team, I'm not looking for another quarterback. I'm looking at Alex Smith. I'm like, this guy just won us an NFC East division title. Took us to the postseason. Well, let's sign him to a 2-year deal. If you want to draft a quarterback, do it late in the draft. Draft somebody late. Build him. But keep Alex Smith. Don't look for another. They just like Taylor Heineke. Who? Taylor Heineke could win a playoff game. It blows my mind that we're talking about this. These quarterbacks have so much success. Russell Wilson just won another NFC West title. And Alex Smith just led the Washington football team, to a playoff appearance. And we're still talking about how these two players could be on their way out of their teams. Why? What sense does that make? I would love for someone to explain that. I don't get it. I really don't. Oh boy, here we go. Okay. So last week on the show, we talked about how Deshaun Watson had no leverage with the Houston Texans. Deshaun Watson had no leverage at all because he signed a contract and pretty much had a no-trade clause. He could ask for a trade, but the Texans have said, we're not getting rid of him. He's our guy. Oh, that's cool. It's fine. I was on the Texans side with that because Deshaun Watson, I said he was foolish to sign the contract anyway. Why would you sign a contract when the Vegas odds had you going to New England, best bets? I don't get it. And then this happened. And then they go ahead and then they release J.J. Watt per his request. Okay, now we got a little problem here, Houston. Houston, we have a problem. Why are you going to... If one guy requests a trade and you're not going to give it to him, why would you give it to the other guy? That doesn't make... That's total BS by the Texans. And I hear a lot of the name Jack Easterby, who's in the Texans front office. Obviously, Houston's showing their ass right now to the entire league, to the entire sports world. They're showing, as of right now, what a dumpster fire they really are. Like, come on, you give rid of J.J. Watt. You're the best defensive player in Texans history. Arguably the best player in Texans history. He asked for a release, you get rid of him. Deshaun Watson, he's a future Hall of Famer. I don't think anybody can doubt that. He asked for his release, and you're going to keep him? You're not going to let him go? Let him explore his options? Dumpster fire. That is crap. That is BS. The Texans, I think, at this point should just get rid of Deshaun Watson and start rebuilding. Because now they're looking like the Detroit Lions. And I talked about this last week as well. The Detroit Lions continued to be the Detroit Lions. You know, the Matthew Stafford trade. They got Jared Goff, who's a worse quarterback than Matt Stafford. They got a new head coach who's talking about biting knees off. And the Lions have been around since 1933 and have won 0 Super Bowls. That's what the Texans are looking like right now. They look like the Detroit Lions. Everything's such a freaking mess in Houston, like it is in Detroit. And it really just seems like there's no end to it. Houston, do Deshaun Watson a favor. Grant his release. Trade him to somewhere. Do something. But don't keep him. If you're going to let J.J. Watt go, you got to let Deshaun Watson go as well. Just because you want to continue winning, I mean, that's not Deshaun Watson's problem. Let him go. Trade him and start rebuilding. And don't be the Detroit Lions. Do not be the Detroit Lions. I can't believe it. Crazy, isn't it? It's absolutely crazy that we're talking about that. Hell, the Texans are starting to look like the Detroit Lions of the AFC. The front office is dumpster fire. The head, I don't even know who new head coach is. It's crap fire, pretty much. Everything in the Houston Texans organization is absolute garbage right now, and they're starting to look like the Detroit Lions. All right, let's go a little NBA here, just a little bit, not too much. The Washington Wizards are obviously one of the worst teams in the NBA. I don't know where they stand in the standings or anything like that, but I do know that they are a very bad team. And it's unfortunate because Bradley Beal is scoring 40 points a game at this point, and all they do is lose. What could be the problem in Washington? Everybody's talking about that. What is the problem in Washington? Why is it that Bradley Beal is having such great games, and the Wizards have one of the worst records in the league right now? Well, I think the answer is clear, and the answer has been clear for quite some time. His name is Russell Westbrook. And I didn't think about this, but then I looked into it more, and I saw a few things, and I'm like, wow, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. This is very strange, isn't it? All the teams that Russell Westbrook has played with are better off without him. Yes, he won an MVP, triple-double with Oklahoma City, and they went to the finals, but that was with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant left, the Thunder were not the same. outside of the 1 year Russell Westbrook won MVP because he had averaged a triple-double throughout the season. I mean, Russell Westbrook left, went to Houston. The Thunder were about the same, maybe even better without him. With Houston, they kept losing in the second round of the playoffs every year. Obviously, a little bit has to do with James Harden, but it didn't help that Russell Westbrook was also a terrible shooter in Houston. He leaves. Obviously, right now they're still rebuilding. They do have John Wall. They're doing pretty well now that they get rid of James Harden as well. But the Rockets were better without Russell Westbrook as well. And now he's with the Washington Wizards, as I already mentioned. The Wizards they have a better record without Westbrook. They are better off without him on the court. Crazy, isn't it? It's just absolutely mind-blowing. You think about it. He goes to Oklahoma City. With Kevin Durant, they go to the finals. Without Kevin Durant, he has one good year where averages triple-double, wins MVP. Then he leaves. Thunder about the same with or without him. Goes to Houston. Him and James Harden bump heads sometimes. They get to the playoffs. They lose the second round every year. They leave. Rockets are kind of looking all right without them. Goes to Washington. They're one of the worst teams in the NBA, but they're still winning better without him. I don't know what it is with Russell Westbrook, but teams are just better off without him. I don't know what it is. But obviously that seems to be the Wizards' problem. So congratulations to Bradley Beal for doing so well. For the Wizards, you might want to think about doing something with Russell Westbrook. I don't know, it's just weird, isn't it? Russell Westbrook is just, I don't know. Teams do better without him. I don't get why or how or whatever the case is. It's just what it is. Alright, so Super Bowl 55 is now obviously in the books. It's been, at the time of the recording of this podcast, it's been 9 days since the Bucs won Super Bowl 55 with the Chiefs. So it's time to look at Super Bowl 56. Who do we have going to the Super Bowl next year in LA on NBC? Could possibly be Al Michaels' last game called. Well, I know one thing. The Kansas City Chiefs are going back to the Super Bowl for the third consecutive season. There's really nobody that stands in their way in the AFC anymore. The only one that did was the Patriots with Tom Brady. The Patriots now have no idea who their quarterback is going to be. And that's a problem. They have no one receiver. Julian Edelman's not the same guy. He's dealing with some injuries and dealing with this and that, the third. There is no competition now anywhere in the AFC standing Kansas City way. Oh, what about Baltimore? Baltimore can't get out of their own way sometimes. 2 consecutive years they've lost in the division round. Lamar Jackson is a great regular season quarterback. He's 1-3 in the postseason. He's not getting in Patrick Mahomes' way. He never has. Mahomes is undefeated against Lamar Jackson. I think he's like 3-0. Buffalo, but I think the Bills take a step back. I love what they had. John Brown, they had Stephon Diggs. Josh Allen had a great year. Congratulations to the Bills for having such a great year. But look at the division they're playing in. The AFC East. Playing against Sam Darnold, who might not be there next year. Tua, we're still uncertain about. And New England, again, we don't know who the quarterback's going to be next year. They don't know who their quarterback's going to be the next year. Nobody stands in Kansas City's way to get to Super Bowl 56 next year. And then there's the NFC. Who's going to represent the NFC? Now that is a totally different topic. Because I'm not sure who's going to represent the NFC next year. Good Brady running back? Hell, I said before the season last year, the Bucs were going to struggle, chemistry issues and all this other stuff. I still thought they were going 11-5, which they did. I just didn't expect them to go all the way to the Super Bowl. I think that's the biggest shock from the Bucs, going all the way to the Super Bowl and winning it. Aaron Rodgers, the Packers. I said it before the season last year. They're going to be heavy reliant on Devontae Adams. Well, what do you know? He led the league in like every receiving category. And they went 13-3, went another NFC Championship game and lost again. They can't do that next year. They can't just depend on Devontae Adams for 54% of their plays. You got to get more receivers. Fontes Scanley is a very talented guy. It's cool and all. You got to get some more receivers. Aaron Rodgers got to get the ball out more to different guys. because he just keeps depending on Devontae Adams. It's not going to work out too well for him. So, Seattle. We talked about Seattle to start this show. If Seattle gets rid of Russell Wilson, you think Seahawks go back to the playoffs? Hell no, they're not going back to the playoffs. Because I don't even know who the backup quarterback is. Some rando, probably. The Seahawks are nothing without Russell Wilson. So, I'm not saying they're going to. And again, I said they shouldn't. But if the Seahawks do get rid of Russell Wilson, the Seahawks are out of the playoff picture entirely. Arizona. Everyone talked about Arizona. What great team they are. They choked. Ultimate choke job last year. They were such a great team toward the end of the year. They lost to the 49ers, and then all they had to do was beat the Rams and have the Bears lose or something, and they get in. Arizona lost to John Wolford, a backup quarterback. They lost in the final game when they needed to make the playoffs. They choked it. I don't know if Arizona's that talented of a team, if they're going to choke it like they did last year. So, it's again, big question mark. Who's going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl? Nobody really knows. But we do know, again, one thing for sure. That is that Patrick Mahomes is going to lead the Kansas City Chiefs back to the Super Bowl next year. Book it. It's happening. Again, nobody in the AFC stands in their way. Nobody. Oh, well, Lamar Jackson 1-3 in the postseason. 0-3 against Patrick Mahomes. It's not happening. Josh Allen, the Bills, they'll win the AFC East. They're not going to beat Mahomes. They had a 9-0 lead in Kansas City. They wound up getting outscored like big time. I remember how much they got outscored by after leading 9-0. They got outscored big time in the AFC Championship game. There's nobody else in the AFC. The AFC's health is a dumpster fire. We don't know what's going to happen with Jacksonville. The Titans, maybe. It's a big question mark with the NFC, though. Tampa Bay, are they going to run it back? Who knows? Is Green Bay going to be the same team? Probably not. What's going to happen in Seattle? Who knows right now, because they can't get out of their own way. Now they're in obviously in, I don't want to say the tabloids, but like the media's talking about them trading Russell Wilson. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So, we'll see. That's going to be just going to do it for our show today. This has been episode 56 of the SCU Show. I'm your host, SCU. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And we will see you next time right here on the SCU Show.